from Cherwell Broadcasting, and we're here today at Tedx Oxford day-long conference, aiming to bring inspirational speakers to Oxford students and the surrounding areas.
The first few speakers.
Hi, I thought it was great. It was really interesting. Certainly something new.
What are you looking forward to most in the afternoon?
The talk on body dysmorphia mostly, I think will be amazing.
Particularly enjoyed Alea Pierce talking about cancer. I'm a cancer surgeon, and so it particularly resonated with me and I really enjoyed it.
So it was really nice the way that they were looking at how you should be grateful for every day and that kind of thing.
I'd say the first talk about entrepreneurship in Africa. That's
really
very
good,
good.
wasn't it?
Yeah, makes me want to go and do something with my life actually.
So your talk today was about bestseller novels. How many manuscripts do you think you were sent a week?
Well, we've got a lot of ours online, and last year Curtis Brown received 15,000 manuscripts.
15,000 manuscripts. Do you think there were a few discoveries that you yourself made that you still remember years afterwards?
Oh yeah. No, I mean, funnily enough, I talked about Tracy Chevalier in the talk, and someone like that who, early on in my career, some wonderful writers like Glenn Duncan and David Nichols, and there's lots of writers that I've still worked with that I discovered. Yeah.
I have a sort of question about how you think publishing in general has been changing in sort of the last decade or so.
Well, there's been huge changes, but actually what's happening now is the ebooks are plateauing, as they say, which is flattening out, and actually print is on the rise. So people, especially young people, aren't turning to ebooks how they imagined, and especially children, actually. Children read books. So publishing is in quite a healthy place, but having said that, they're still publishing the same types of books, so it's becoming a less creative industry, and that's what I'm trying to push for them to take more risks.
So I suppose I'm somewhere between an academic and an engineer in that I work here at the university and I'm a researcher, but I also do quite a lot of stuff with industry as well. So with some Formula One teams or some automotive companies. But essentially, my research is about turbulence, which was the title of the talk, and kind of how companies can use it and things like that. So
You also said about bioengineering?
yeah, essentially nowadays a lot of surgeons and hospitals are looking at ways to diagnose patients and to do it in possible real time. So one example would be an aneurysm. So if you want to try and predict if an aneurysm would rupture, and most of the time that's fatal, doing these kind of simulations means that you can essentially do a scan of somebody's brain or body or wherever the aneurysm might be, use those in a simulation and get out information about whether that will rupture or not, just from the scan, the MRI scan or the CT scan. So this is still, I wouldn't say it's happening on a daily basis in hospitals, but it's the kind of research that is trying to go and help the job of consultants and surgeons to predict whether to intervene or not. So it's that kind of, it's used the same technology which is used to design planes and cars, but focusing on inside, basically.
I am a third-year finalist in experimental psychology, studying at St Anne's. I came to Oxford and kind of experienced what it was like to use mental health services here, because I have a history of, as I said in speech, anorexia and depression. And I just felt like one thing that Oxford was missing was bringing this kind of academic inquisitiveness, which we all pride, into a topic such as mental health. And I thought that was a very powerful way of destigmatizing it, because by bringing knowledge and conversation to a topic, it then becomes not a taboo anymore. So that's my motivation with Meeting the Minds, and I started up in conjunction with Student Minds, and it's just gone from strength to strength. The setup is we'll have a speaker, a primary speaker, who will be a celebrity or an academic, and then following on from that, there's just an open kind of conversation, question and answer. And it's worked really, really well. It's been, I think, very successful in not only answering a lot of people's questions about mental health, but also in reiterating its universality, because these celebrities come and say, well, I have depression, and it's really it's great to have someone you admire be like in the same boat as you. And, yeah.
What would you say is like the biggest sticking point still in terms of fully becoming a more tolerant society?
I just think it's not a priority for anyone. Yeah, it's not. Mental health is being cut, you know, left, right and centre, services being cut. It's a silent problem, so in many respects it just hasn't got the legitimacy. It's not like when you've broken an arm and you have a cast. It's much more insidious than that, because it's consciousness. We struggle with it by ourselves, and as a result of that we feel more isolated in it. So that's one issue, the fact that people aren't talking, they're not sharing experiences, so everyone feels like the freak in the room when actually no one is. This is common to humanity. You know, the statistic is 1 in 3 will develop a mental health problem, but that's 1 in 3 who will report it. So I just think it's something where we need conversation, we need government to make it a priority, and we need it to be taught at a young age. We need mental health resilience, and we need mental health education from a very young age.
We've come to the end of a long day of very inspirational talks here at New Theatre. The theme of today's TEDx conference was Finding X. We've covered everything from turbulence to utopia, and the question for us all now, what is it within each and every one of us that we can unleash to create a new future?